Okay, so ready to dive into something a little different. It's about patience.
Patience.
Yeah, and I know, it sounds kind of, well, boring, right?
Right.
Like waiting for paint to dry, that kind of thing. But stick with me, because what if I told you there's like a really exciting way to think about patience?
Okay. I like exciting.
Exactly. So we're going to unpack this idea of patience, but not the just sit there and wait kind of patience. We're talking about active patience, the kind that actually helps you grow and like really live a more fulfilling life.
Mm.
And to help us with this deep dive, we're turning to a perhaps surprising source, 40 Rules of Love.
40 Rules of Love.
Yes, it's a novel, but honestly, it's so much deeper than just a typical romance. It's full of these amazing insights into life and love and, well, you guessed it, patience.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we start?
Let's jump right into Rule 8. It says, patience does not mean to passively endure. It means to be farsighted enough to trust the end result of a process. So basically, it's saying that patience isn't about just waiting around for something to happen. It's about understanding that there's like this whole process unfolding and trusting that it's going to lead you somewhere good, even if you can't see it yet.
Hmm. That's a really different way to think about patience. It's not passive at all, is it? It's about being, like you said, farsighted, having that trust.
Exactly. And you know what else really struck me about this rule? It's the imagery it uses. It says, what does patience mean? It means to look at the thorn and see the rose, to look at the night and see the dawn. Right?
Wow.
It's like in that moment, you're not just focused on the thorn, the pain, the difficulty. You're choosing to see the potential, the beauty that's going to come from it. Have you ever experienced that in your own life, like being able to see that potential even when things are tough?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all have those moments where, you're going through something challenging. It could be a personal struggle, or maybe it's like a creative block at work, something like that. But instead of getting, completely overwhelmed by the difficulty of it, you take a step back and you can just kind of sense that there's something better waiting on the other side. You just have to trust the process, keep going, and eventually you'll see that dawn.
Yes, exactly. And the book actually talks about that too, about how impatience can actually stop us from seeing the good stuff.
Oh, how so?
Well, there's this other line that says, impatience means to be so short-sighted as to not be able to see the outcome. It's like we're so busy focusing on wanting things to happen right now that we miss out on the journey. And sometimes the journey, even with all its bumps, is where the real growth happens.
Yeah, that's so true. We're living in a world that's all about instant gratification, right? Like we want everything fast, fast, fast. But some things, the best things even, they don't work that way. They take time.
Totally. Think about like building a meaningful relationship. That doesn't happen overnight, right?
Right.
It takes time, effort, patience, lots of patience. Or creating something amazing like a work of art or a piece of music. Those things take time to develop. You can't rush the process.
It's so true. And speaking of processes, there's this really beautiful analogy in Rule 8. It says, the lovers of God never run out of patience, for they know that time is needed for the crescent moon to become full.
I love that. It's like just as the moon goes through its phases, everything in life has its own natural rhythm. There are times for growth, times for rest, times for, well, just being patient.
Exactly. And when we can tap into that understanding, when we can trust that there's this larger order to things, it makes it a little easier to be patient, wouldn't you
Ah,
say?
absolutely. So to wrap things up, it seems like the key takeaway here is that real patience isn't about passive waiting. It's about trusting the process. It's about looking at the thorns and seeing the rose, knowing that the crescent moon will eventually become full.
Beautifully put.
So I want to leave you with this, listener. Where in your own life could a little bit of active patience make a big difference? What thorns are you facing right now that might just lead you to something incredible if you can just trust the process? Think about it.